Welcome everybody to the Game Bytes Show Memory Bytes segments. This is one of our weekly streams that we do on twitch.tv. I am Jeremy Lamont, Jeremy Lawman Lamont, and with me here today is Jared Redeye Dunn.
Hello.
And we're going to be playing today for our Memory Bytes segment Psychonauts. This is a selection that I've made. We basically go back and look at some of our favorite old games or games that are something memorable for us, and we share them here with you and kind of talk about the things that we like about it and kind of play through it a little bit. So the Psychonauts game is one of the sort of famous sort of critical darlings. It is noteworthy for never having done exceptionally well financially, never really sold a lot, but most people who play it have pretty fond memories of it and really find it to be something special. And we are going to be getting here to our opening sequence, I think, here.
Yeah, we can go ahead and get started.
So we're going to be playing this on PC, which we're currently observing the 10th anniversary of the release of Psychonauts. It was originally a PlayStation 2 game. It was originally published by Majesco, but that is now, I'm not even sure if that company's still around. I'm sure they are. They still, I think they still sell Cooking Mama quite liberally. If I remember, their stock ticker is cool at Majesco. But
they are cool.
The rights have reverted now to the original creators, and it is now, I believe, self-published by Double Fine.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And yep. So those of you who are familiar with Tim Schafer, who is famous for having worked on originally old LucasArts games, adventure games primarily, and then later on now self-publishes a lot of smaller titles. And favorite studio of mine, I really like their style, and that comes through in Psychonauts. Psychonauts is a kind of a little bit of an offshoot from the adventure game genre. It is what I would maybe call a adventure platformer. So it's an adventure game in the sense that you you have characters to talk to, you have a persistent inventory. As you go around the world, you might collect things and make use of them, combine them in creative ways, and you eventually will make progress through puzzles and things of that nature, and there's also a platforming element to it. So as you can see, we're here at Camp Whispering Rock. At least we're starting to see it there.
We were trying to, and the sound was overbearing.
Yeah.
So
need to do some...
you saw me kind of fighting the menu. The game's pretty good on PC, but the interface suffers a little bit. The best way to play it, even on PC, is get your Xbox 360 controller out. So we'll go ahead and start the game.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
The human mind.
Are placed in the role of young Rasputin, R-A-Z, short. He goes by Raz for short, and he basically has sort of found his way into Whispering Rock Summer Camp, which Whispering Rock, kind of an interesting concept. It's actually a summer camp for psychic children. And it's sort of a training camp, a government installation that is used for the training and kind of the culling of psychic children to become psychonauts, which are psychic, what would you say, psychic rangers, I suppose.
There we go.
And
There you go. We're G-Byte.
Very nice. Yeah, it's always running up against the character limits.
Indeed.
In those kinds of games.
So I actually have approximately 40 minutes worth of experience with this game, so you're going to see it pretty much fresh.
Well, that's kind of the thing. It's still to this day. I mean, I think it's a game that probably has gotten more exposure from its PC release, but is still one of those that I think not enough people have really had enough exposure to. So here we have the camp counselor, one of the camp counselors, and of course all of the characters have their particular idiosyncrasies and very interesting styles, and we're going to get to see in just a minute kind of how that bears on everything here. And that is Ford Cruller, or I'm sorry, actually, technically, spoiler alert, he's kind of the camp, I guess, janitor, I guess you might say, but he is also the man who secretly runs the entire thing by way of his split personality. So, under the Whispering Rock summer camp is a giant sort of psychoactive meteorite that powers everything, and Ford Cruller has experienced kind of a split personality syndrome because of that. So right now we're kind of going through orientation, and I'm not sure that there's any way to really to get beyond this. Hopefully we'll get to some of the more interesting things for too long here.
Yeah, it's pretty much locked you in. Okay, great. Camera preferences. I like the birds, that's nice. If this were Windows 98, I'd want that as a screensaver.
You don't want to be late for basic braining.
Yeah, overall the art direction and the music is again another Peter McConnell scored soundtrack, so very moody, kind of jazzy, a little bit westerny. And here we're going to go out into the camp common area and meet some of the other campers. The game is sort of vaguely, I don't want to call it open world, but there are different discrete areas that you go into, and you can pass from one zone to another. And all of the characters are sort of persistent, so as you go through the game, each character has sort of their own little progression, their own little storyline. You can talk to them and find out a little bit more about what they're doing and kind of where their journey is taking them on this magical summer camp.
Yeah, this weird screen flickering actually wasn't happening when I was testing this before streaming, so it's probably just streaming kind of fiddling with it. Normally it doesn't flicker in and out. Do not adjust your sets.
Yeah, right.
And again,
well, the nice thing is,
I was just gonna say again with the interface. I don't know what key F is on the Xbox 360 controller, so we'll see.
Interesting.
Why apparently.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. I mean, it's pretty basic. It's basically interact with people. So here we are at the treehouse, and we're gonna start learning a little bit about basic braining. So you can see here that Raz has different little psychic attacks that you've been accidentally triggering off. And he does have a degree of psychic power already, and the idea of the summer camp is you're going to learn something, and there's sort of a progression as you go through the game, and you start to learn how to do more interesting attacks and abilities that sort of unlock other areas and become useful in different scenarios. So here we are seeing the kind of the main idea behind Psychonauts, which is the ability to enter into the minds of other people in kind of that swirling loading screen fashion.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool premise because it really just kind of opens up. You know, the game could really be about anything at that point. Different set pieces, different levels, just whatever people could think of, right? So, I really like.
It's fun to hear.
Go ahead.
I'd like to chicken out, please.
I was just gonna say.
It's funny to hear Tim Schafer talk about the idea. He actually, it sort of came to him by accident. He was talking with someone about a game idea that he had been working on to about secret agents who go into their own minds to solve puzzles or to solve crimes and things. And the person had said, "Oh yeah, Tim, how about that game you're working on where people go into other people's minds?" And he says, "No, actually, it was and kind of came up with the idea kind of by accident, which is kind of neat. But you're right; it gives one of the things about this is that all of the different levels are extremely different and have different themes, and it really keeps it interesting throughout the entire game.
Yeah, I did enjoy that, and they're all very imaginative. Okay. I never pretended to be good at these. The one thing that kind of turned me off, it's just game style I don't really care for, is the collectibles are pretty intense in this one.
Yeah, nothing is really required, but it definitely is very collectible heavy. So right now we're going through Coach Oleander's mind, and of course he's the training, kind of a military sort of guy, and so this is basic braining instead of basic training. And you're looking there at figments of the imagination, and there are 100 on every level, and here we also have emotional baggage, so they kind of keep with the mental, I don't want to call it mental illness, but kind of the mental concept where you have baggage and figments of the imagination and things like that. And of course everything is themed to that character. And the funny thing is that as you unlock things, you can actually start to find out more about the character and kind of what motivates them. So whereas on the outside they may tell you, or they may say, you know, like Coach Oleander is, you know, very tough and you know, he's sort of Full Metal Jacket kind of, you know, what's your major malfunction kind of character. You find out a little bit about his past and kind of where, you know, where he may have come from before that.
Yeah, this is kind of Warzone themed looking. You got like this tower with the searchlights.
Exactly. And it gets pretty tough. So you're finding out a little bit about the platforming, and that is one thing that Double Fine games have sort of come under a little bit of fire for, is that as they explore different game themes or different elements on their own, you know, platforming is not strictly something that that team was really well known for, and you know, it's competent, but platforming is sort of a tricky thing to master just generally.
Yeah, it's one of my weak points. It's typically the platform. I'm amazed I made that. Platformers are not typically a game I would play, so that should be interesting. Go gentle on me.
Yeah. And you know, this is just the first level too, so there are others, and I don't know that the platforming, platforming doesn't necessarily get a lot harder until you get to the notorious end level of the game, the Meat Circus. But lots of,
again, with the artifacting,
things to jump on. Well, now some of that stuff, you know, just kind of seeing it from here, some of that stuff is actually, oh yeah, okay, I see what you're talking about there. The platforms kind of coming in and out. I was going to say some of that stuff is intentional, but again, this is a port to the PC from the PlayStation 2, so from a technical standpoint, there are going to be, I guess, maybe a few little glitches, and it's also running on like 2005 technology generally. So,
hey, don't talk bad about my computer. No, yeah. And it wasn't doing quite, that I recall, any of the artifacting before I started running OBS. I was probably just having a fit about that.
Yeah. You know, I also don't think that the game is necessarily at its strongest in the platforming either. For me personally, one of the things that I really liked about Psychonauts, and really continue to like, are the way the characters are written and just the scenario overall. I mean, mostly the non-platforming stuff is what I tend to really like about it, and a lot of memorable lines, a lot of really interesting characters. I think one of the guys you're going to come up to here pretty quickly is Dogen, who is one of your fellow campmates, and he is he's kind of a special little guy, Dogen.
I've come to the conclusion I'm lost already. Aha! Now we're talking.
There you go. Yeah, so lots of memorable lines from this. In fact, this is one of my favorite games to go look up wiki quote, or just to look up different things that different characters have said.
Hey, look, this is Assassin's Creed before it was on.
Yeah, for sure. And we can get through a little bit of this. I don't know that we're going to spend too much time, but at least it kind of gets you the idea of what you're working with. And you can see that as you use some of your abilities. I mean, right now you have your sort of psychic ball that you can jump on. It allows you to do double jumps, and eventually you can sort of ride around on it like a little scooter or something. It's pretty. Oh, yeah. So there you just passed Dogen, and you can actually talk to these characters. I don't know if you can get back through that minefield, but the guy who was there waiting.
Don't doubt my abilities.
You think you can do it? So
Done.
Is kind of a fun character because he is that metal plate on his head, or that metal hat that he wears, is not because he's
special,
afraid of the government scanning his brain, but actually because his psychic powers are so out of control that he basically explodes. Yeah.
I don't.
He basically explodes anybody around him. Like there's if you meet him out on the kind of the main hub world, just out in camp, he'll talk about the squirrels that are following him, and it's kind of funny because like in the middle of talking to Raz, he will like just squirrels will start exploding because of his latent psychic ability.
I can't do it.
And others turn into
I can't
jibs.
do it.
So Dogen,
Okay, well,
Dogen needs a little bit of help getting through the minefield.
we'll move on unless he's required.
Yeah, no.
You get an idea of some of the kind of the quote mini games available, I guess.
Exactly. Just little, just little little things that they put here and there, little things for you to find. And this is just one of the levels. I mean, you sort of bounce back and forth between Raz, who is trying to figure out the sort of the secret of the camp. Things are not what they seem to be, and traversing the mental space of all of these different characters.
Yeah, a lot of charm, a lot of attention paid to the details.
It's Raz!
I can't remember that dude's name who was in the jet, but he does this thing where he is just constantly telling some lame story throughout the entire, and like he won't shut up. I mean,
It's yeah, that's your spirit
just
animal.
keep talking to him. And yeah, I know, right? That's Jeremy. That's Lawman and the Whispering Rock Camp.
What? Yeah. Get these guys. Cardboard industry is gonna hate me.
Just kind of giving you, and it does eventually get a little more complicated. So out in the main world, out in camp, you'll run across bears and vicious psychic woodland animals and things like that, and some of them can get pretty challenging. They're mostly trying to teach.
This is obviously the tutorial, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Get the duck.
Most people, they got something to hide. They store away their shame, their dirty little secrets, tiny vaults in their mind. The enemy is not allowed any secrets in wartime.
Cutest safe ever.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure what that symbol is on the side there.
I got nothing to hide.
Ah.
Yeah, I think that might be. I can't remember if that's more. That's a locked memory, I think,
One of my favorites.
or a repressed memory. I think they all have little names for the things that you can do with them.
Health pickups, there you go. Oh. Okay. I have no idea what I've done.
What have you brought?
What have I
What
done?
have you brought?
Is this the beginning?
If it is, we have the power within us to change to any part of the game we want to.
We
At least
can.
according to what we've arranged earlier, I think.
Yes. Well, maybe not necessarily any part of the game. I did select a few saves. They mostly seem to be boss levels, unfortunately. So that should be entertaining.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't even remember what all of the little knickknacks that you can come across actually do.
Ah! Ah!
I mean, it's a pretty good boot camp level. I mean, they hit all the right notes.
Yeah, no, it's good. Now I gotta do the... Yep, there we go. Wait a minute. I like that dude's hair.
That's if I remember correctly, that's Bobby Zilch.
Wait a minute. That did not even make sense. We just turned directions. We fell down and then landed sideways. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oops.
Oops. All right. Okay. So I think we get this. We could. This is kind of cool. Um,
Yeah, it is, and they start to do things like topsy-turvy. They start to play around a little bit with the idea of orientation and gravity.
yeah, it's just changed twice on us. I don't know if you're paying attention,
Right.
you might have noticed that.
Grab
But,
poles like that and
Right.
It's all about
Secretly, I'm actually about 10 to 15 seconds behind you, so I'm
oh,
trying to
sure.
anticipate what you're actually doing.
All right. Well, I'm at a big switch puzzle, and in lieu of trying to actually finish this,
Yeah.
we're gonna warp ahead. All right.
So we have the music composed by Peter McConnell, and it gets a really good kind of a madcap vibe to it, sort of a almost a cartoonish band kind of thing, and then kind of throws in jazzy, smooth elements. I mean, I think that the music is a great way to communicate things like insanity. Like just having like really crazy music or it really helps to set the mood of the different because some of the places that you go in Psychonauts, they're not all crazy or funny. Sometimes they're really sad or tragic, or just really kind of scary and creepy. So we're going now to Black Velvetopia, I think.
The bullfight, which I was doing horribly at earlier, so this should be entertaining because I actually don't know all the keys. So it's like I have to use telekinetics, but I don't know what that is. So we're gonna try some things.
The look of this. So this is you're going into the mind of an inmate at the asylum. And he is kind of a painter, artistic type, but he's filled inside with like this rage, and he's sort of got this Spanish. Obviously, we can see the Spanish bullfighting elements, and everything is done in kind of a black light lit, kind of velvety texture.
So terrible at this. Earlier, I had like a teleport. So. TK. Yeah, still even getting all the prompts for. So I got that far, but.
Yeah, I think you do. You basically have to pick up the.
So I don't know how though. Because it says you can't. So that's why I was kind of thinking it something TK. But I don't really know.
What you may need to do is you may need to swap out your abilities. So there may be a menu to go into to switch out your secondary.
Maybe so.
Your secondary attack, because right now you're using your mental orb thing to.
Map.
Let's see here.
Got smelling salts.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, when Elodio hits the wall, use telekinesis on the banderias and throw them at Elodio. Let's see.
And it very well could be because I kind of skipped around that I do not have what I need. I suspect that could be the case.
Yeah, that might be.
Woo! Yeah. Hey, what was that?
So in the game also, again, like I said, some of the most memorable stuff is not necessarily the fighting or the platforming, but in this case, this is a character who kind of has his worldview on what happened to him. He has a, you think he's a a great matador, and you think that you're helping him, but as you go through the level in Black Velvetopia, what you actually find out is that rather than being his personal representation in his mind here, he's actually the bull, El Odio, the hatred, the anger, and rather than his story that he talks about, his lost love, who is this dancer, Lampita Passionado. She's actually a cheerleader girlfriend who leaves him for another cheerleader, a male cheerleader, and so he was just crushed by that, and you kind of unlock that through the course of this. So what Raz is actually doing is helping people that he comes into contact with to sort of untangle their own mental images of themselves, and I think that's kind of a neat idea, and it's something that you may not appreciate necessarily on your first playthrough, but as you kind of come to understand the game that's happening underneath, it is a little more interesting. So we've shifted gears here now, and I believe that we're in Sasha 9's laboratory, I believe. Sasha is another of the camp counselors, and I think we're going to be going out to the main... Yeah, we're going out to the main...
Yeah, I was just trying to explore. So that's the camp out there, and then this is the council.
Yeah, and you can go look around. I mean, here we are at the... it's the secret entrance to Sasha's laboratory, but it's also the I think it's the psychic isolation chamber, and you can go explore out there, and there's more collectibles and things like that you can use to upgrade your abilities. And actually, whereas before you weren't able to get very far in that fight, you actually have quite a number of pretty good abilities for the for the regular world.
For the regular dudes.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a path. Let's go this way. Seems promising. Main campgrounds. There we go. I'll just punch him. Seems pretty effective. Alright. The flickering. Lodge. Why not?
And yeah, as you get into the lodge, so you might find some other characters. You might as well talk to some of the people in here as well. Because again, the dialogue is pretty fun.
Excuse me.
I told you them burgers ain't ready.
Dude's like cooking burgers at midnight. He's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a week.
I could go for some
And
burgers
there are
right
some
now.
things that are time sensitive in the game, and some things that are so there again. It's Ford Cruller, who is same guy who runs the thing. He also is a number of the staff. You can see there on his shelf, he sells different abilities and things.
Well, this costs $400 and I have it 18, so I'm not gonna be buying any of that stuff. A little bit of a store mechanic.
And a lot of that stuff, the cobweb dusters and mental magnets, those are there to sort of make the collectibles a little easier to pick up.
Gotcha.
So they do at least try to improve that or to make.
This is exactly how I remember cartoons from like the 80s and 90s. You'd go visit like grandma, and that's the cartoon they'd have on, just that guy riding the horse.
They look pretty good too. I have to say. Originally, they've up-res this for what resolution are you running at? This is 1920 by
1080, yeah.
1080. So this is 1080p, which is much better than you would get on. And in fact, I don't even remember how viewable that stuff was on a 480i PlayStation 2.
It's just as pixelated as you remember the actual cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember I spent, and I don't know why, but I spent a lot of time in this parking lot just beating up things.
Yeah, so you eventually sort of learn the layout of the camp, and there's not a lot to do once you've sort of explored an area, but but it is kind of it is kind of neat that they put that together. Yeah, and so we've got
You watch
user
this.
ID
This is
name
the
in
end
chat,
of poor
which
Raz.
flickering. Yeah, that's it.
Nope.
So you
Pulled
don't
one
mess
out.
with- Nice.
But look, I gotta go beat up the car.
Don't mess with psychic animals. Don't feed the psychic bears.
Don't feed the psychic bears. It's good advice for anyone. But I just want to leave camp.
Last thing I'd want to do is leave this place. Too much important stuff.
Somewhere around here, I think from here you can get to a campfire. I think there's a little branch off from the, if I remember correctly, I think there's a branch off from the, off to the left maybe, as you're coming
Yeah, I
in?
think the left is like the starting area where you first started. Reception area? That's what it sounded
Yeah,
like.
somewhere around here there's a campfire, and that might be where everybody's hanging out. Not sure where they all go at night.
Yeah, on Made in chat is commenting on the flickering. We were kind of going over it before. Before I started streaming, it was not nearly as bad as it is now. So hopefully, if someone's
Naturally for the public demonstration.
yeah, it all falls apart, and whatever. We'll just go with it. But oh, there's that dude again. Let's see if we can find someone else. Although I'm sure he has different dialogue here.
Yeah, I wish I could remember. They maybe they're just all back at the bunks. But that's one of the things that's kind of fun too. Is like I said earlier, you run across people who are in various stages of their own little journeys and interacting with each other. And one character likes to smooch the other one, and now they're broken up, and I'm gonna rip off his face, and and just the dialogue that you that you get to partake in with them is just really fun. So you can see there is a little bit of a rhyme or reason to the layout of the place. You can kind of see where you are and eventually get good at it. It's just like real camp, Sometimes you just gotta go out.
Yeah. Whoa. Well, that's not what I expected.
No.
So you played this on PS2 when it first came out?
Yeah, so this is on PS2, and then I actually replayed it when they released it as a PlayStation Classic on the PS3. So I actually have not played my PC version. Depending on when you see this, so again, we're doing this for the 10th anniversary of the release of Psychonauts. It is currently $1.99, a cool $2 on Steam, and if you wait long enough for a Steam sale,
It'll come around again. This one goes on sale kind of frequently, but definitely worth keeping an eye out.
It is, for sure.
And I think I want to say it's only available on Steam, but that could be inaccurate. It may be on some other distribution sites as well.
To be on GOG, good old games.
Is it? That's a good place to get it too.
Check that.
Oh,
Yeah.
he got me.
Oops.
I want to go in the tree trunk. Hide. That happened. Apparently, the tree trunks you can go in.
Oh yeah, right. And there's a whole pneumatic tube system. So eventually, Raz figures out, he makes friends with Ford Cruller, the sort of the camp executive, I guess you might call him, head of the Psychonauts, and you can basically use this to travel around, and you actually go on little missions and stuff, and you can come back and redeem things, and again, there's just always something to be doing. So, here back at the bunkhouse, again, there might be some characters here. I don't know where everybody went. It's the middle of the night, though, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they all went. Part of it, too, is it's not really a real-time system. It's based on progression through the game.
Sure.
So,
right.
if you beat a particular level, it kind of advances everybody together until you do the next thing, and you basically have free reign to run around and do whatever you want until the time changes again. So we're winding up here. I don't know if you want to try looking at one or two other levels.
Yeah,
before we
let's.
get too far. I think Lungfishopolis might be.
I think I have that one.
Either Lungfishopolis or Milkman Conspiracy. See about getting into Milkman.
So the Milkman Conspiracy is the boss fight, apparently, with the lady and the lights go out. Lungfishopolis was kind of silly though. I think this is after the main mission, at least from the dialogue. That's what I picked up. And it actually totally got me. I was watching this and didn't realize until I started moving that I don't know, like Raz is giant.
Yes.
I did not. Correct. This was not expected.
If I recall the storyline correctly, I believe that he has gone into the mind of Linda the Lungfish, I think. Oh my gosh, it's been a long time, so I should be looking this up while I'm doing this. Which actually is another boss.
Oh.
Linda the hulking lungfish.
Makes sense.
Is sort of the resident lake monster at camp.
Lake monster.
Yeah.
Every camp has to have one, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, they do. They hit all of those notes just quite well. And I don't know if you can hear it on the stream, but it's funny because as you crash the buildings, you know, you hear people going, "Oh no, my house!"
Yeah, I managed to run over a rather large mob of lungfish, I guess, earlier, and they were just making all kinds of squishy sounds, and it was terrible.
Oh no, my pet store!
Ow. And I actually found you don't even have to punch these; you can just walk on them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when you're a giant monster. And you know, not all of the levels are action levels either. I mean, this is sort of a less, you know, this is obviously less platformy and sort of more stompy. But there's also a level that is based loosely on like a chess game.
Oh, nice.
And so you actually have to play
chess
through the game that way.
I would lose so bad.
Yeah.
May's just commenting on our saves. I went through and I have not played this through completion. We just wanted to kind of highlight this isn't going to be like a let's play or anything. We just wanted to show off some of the content. So we did a little save editing just so we could flip between places. And having no experience, I had no idea what was what. It was all just named. There was no numbering, so I just grabbed stuff at random. Which is how I ended up with a bunch of boss fights. It's like, I didn't really want to do boss fights, because A, I'm terrible at them, B, they don't really show much of kind of the mechanics, I guess. Smush! Anyway, so this was quite entertaining. Laser! Ow.
The only other one that is, you know, I mean, there are a lot of them. You know, there are levels where, I mean, gosh, there's kind of an Art Deco '60s dance house level. There's, I mentioned earlier, Camp Counselor Sasha 9, who's a very sort of stoic German, you know, sort of an uptight, sort of neat freak kind of character. There are, I mean, obviously we've been in the brain of a lungfish.
No holds barred on the creativity of this.
Yeah, just a lot of the different stuff. And you know, eventually you sort of figure out that the camp is sort of being subverted, and you know, the conspiracy that has been brought about, and eventually you know, you rescue the camp, but it kind of has a, I don't want to say it's really a cliffhanger ending, but it's they sort of give you the impression, or they leave it open for the possibility of sequels in the future. And you know, for the shortcomings of the game, because obviously we've sort of established that it's not really a perfect game by any stretch, but just the things that the things that it does are just so cool and creative, and you just don't see that kind of thing very often, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really endears this game to the people who really love it. But they never made a sequel. There was talk for a little while that
With
that when
Mark
Double
Persons
Fine-
talked
I'm sorry.
about that on doing a sequel.
Marcus Persson.
Marcus Persons,
Notch,
that's it.
that's right. So he's a big fan of the game and had talked about possibly privately funding or at least contributing to the Psychonauts sequel, and I don't think that ever went anywhere. And obviously there's nothing these days. Double Fine has most recently been working on some other projects. Broken Age, the crowd-funded Kickstarter project, which I believe the second of 2 parts is going to be coming out here next
Shortly.
month.
Yeah, another very creative game.
Here pretty soon.
Kind of their
Yeah,
MO,
which I
right?
really like. Exactly. And not everything. I mean, they've done some things that haven't always worked out. I mean, I think they have taken some pretty vitriolic fire lately for
Space-based DF9,
was
didn't
it
they do that?
Yes, they did. I was trying to remember the name of it. Thank you.
I actually had that, and it had so
basically-
much potential, and yeah. Maybe I should check
Well,
it out.
and I think they. Yeah, well, I think they basically, I mean, from what I've heard people say, they basically got it to a point where they could at least, in somewhat good faith, release a version 1.0, and then they sort of cut it off, and I believe they at least released the source code. So that
I think they did. So I'd be curious if anyone's doing anything with it. It had a lot of potential. One of my favorite games out of a different developer, Space Colony, I think was the name of it, out of Firefly, made the Stronghold series. It was just a real quirky kind of colonization game like that. But so I was like, oh yes, it was like perfect, but not to be.
From what I understand, it was going to be a sort of Dwarf Fortress-esque kind of thing, sort of a more accessible version of Dwarf Fortress.
Just proving that Dwarf Fortress and accessible just don't always mix. All right, so I think we're good here. We're at 42 minutes, so we'll probably call it. Any final thoughts on Psychonauts? Did it launch your love for a genre?
It's not I think it's I think it sort of just bolstered it. I mean, one of the things that I liked about this was, again, more of the adventure-y elements of it. Just the very snappy, clever way in which they fleshed out and realized the characters, the clever word plays, and just the really fun interactions of the different elements of the game. Made in chat here has mentioned that was written both by Tim Schafer and also Eric Wolpaw, which is correct. Eric Wolpaw, I think, got to be very well known for his work in Portal, writing dialogue for and that game. I mean, aside from its, kind of similar to this. I mean, it had some interesting ideas underlying it, but I felt really shined in the kind of the character interaction.
The game was just something for you to do while you watched the characters interact.
Yeah, sure. That's a good way to put it. But just generally speaking, I think if this is one that you've been holding off on, or that you haven't, you've heard people talk about, it's pretty inexpensive, and I think it's a pretty low,
super inexpensive
cost, low barrier to entry kind of thing. And during the course of this stream, we've sort of jumped around to a few different things. But I think if you are able to take a little bit more than a 30 to 40 minute segment and sit down with it, I think that you would. There's a pretty even chance that you will be pretty well charmed by it. There are, like I said, some older fashioned design decisions and just some technology considerations that you may have to overcome. But if that's not a problem for you, if you're the kind of person who would more appreciate the the experience of it, I think it only got really difficult and frustrating kind of at the end. And we won't go into Meat Circus. We don't want to sully the good name of the stream for tonight. But take a look at some other videos online. There are plenty of people who have looked at the Meat Circus, and I think even Tim Schafer, if you if you ask him about it, he'll say, "Yeah, you know."
Sometimes hindsight is 2020, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like the last couple levels of God of War, where everything turned into suddenly a really punishing kind of platformer game.
Just falls apart on you.
And I would invite you, my cohort, Jared. I would suggest that if you find yourself with a little bit of free time in your schedule, maybe pay a visit to Whispering Rock.
What is free time? I did when I was setting up the saves. I almost overwrote my original, and I was like, no, I must keep it. So maybe I will return. You never know.
Good for you. And, we would like you to return, viewers. As you know, you can listen to the Game Bytes Show audio podcast twice a week. We do, at the top of the week, the news and new releases segment. We have a What You've Been Playing show about partway through the week. And, of course, Jared and I are here to take you through in similar small game bites, little chunks of gaming goodness every week or more often as the opportunity arises to sort of show you some things that are interesting to us, and we hope that you find them interesting as well. Subscribe to us here on Twitch. You can hit that follow button, and you'll be notified whenever we go live. You'll also probably get some kind of email as well. Follow us on Twitter at GameBytesShow, GAMEBYTES. Show, TES. I don't know if I enunciated that quite right. And then, of course, we have our website, GameBytesShow.com, where you can get RSS feeds, iTunes feeds, and the like for our audio shows. You can also find us and follow us individually on Twitter. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
I am at Redeye, RED_ the letter I. Not the letter, just the I.
So if there was something that you... Yeah. If there is something that you particularly liked about the stream, something that you particularly did not like, something that you disagreed with, you can send all of your complaints to Jared. I will take all of your praise and adulations.
Yeah, you're right. You can also leave comments on this video. Will eventually be over on YouTube. I don't know if we mentioned that. Just search Game Bytes Show.
That's true. So they come out pretty quickly after the stream ends as well. So if you have a favorite moment in Psychonauts, if there's a favorite character that you have, favorite lines, I love to trade quippy quotes from Psychonauts. Just let us know, and we'll be happy to have you along on this little project of ours, the Game Bytes Show. So.
All right. Thank you for watching. Logging off.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.